You're telling them that.
No,
How did I tell them?
No, they can hear you.
Oh, okay. 1 second, guys. Technical difficulties, I tell you. Be doing something right here. The devil is a liar. We had this all prepped up. Tell when I can go. Let me know, David. They can hear me? Can sound check? Can you guys hear me? Give a 10 if it's clear. Give me a 0 if you can't hear me. Oh. I can mute it here on my end too. Oh, cool. I can mute. If I need to mute it, I can mute. You know I can mute it here. You guys can hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh, they can hear you.
Okay. How about right now? That's kind of cool. I can mute it if I need to do appropriate. Like burp, nothing. All right. Good evening. Good morning, YouTube citizens. This is the KGB Live Show. Sorry for the technical difficulties. When you're doing Yah's work and trying to get the truth out there, you're going to have the devil that's going to try to do things to try to disrupt it. But hey, we're still there. How many people we got, Dave, on the online?
We have about three or four.
Okay, 3 or 4. Okay, a little people is coming. So, but you can start or.
Yeah, you can give it a couple minutes.
Okay, let me give it a couple because I know we had to switch. We had to switch the deal there. But thank you guys for being patient. All right, guys, we're gonna get started here. Hey, let me just make some announcement here. We had this past week some videos that we loaded up, good content. We got one, the flying monkey, and we also had the Berean moment. We had our brother Darius Powell. He had a great testimony. His testimony is kind of like mine. He had to give up his son or his child to be able to keep the faith. So just wanted to encourage you guys to please look at those videos. Great Berean moment, and that flying monkey just showing how the Jezebel can use the smear campaign, how they have their flying monkeys to do that. I personally experienced that. So anyway, also too, please guys still continue to check out Pastor Dow's channel. Great content, especially if you are a patron. If you're not a patron, I highly recommend being a patron. He got some good content in there that he's just loading up, especially about Black History Month, real Black History Month. So anyway, I told you guys the name of this show and what we're going to be talking about. Your marriage is secular and not biblical. Well, guys, I have this. I told you that I was going to get you the transcript. I personally requested the court when I was going through my divorce if I could get the transcript of the meeting. I should have got all of them. It's kind of cool because you can come back here and see what was written. So let's just go and start right into it. So here, let me give you the backdrop of how this happened. And then I'm looking forward to you guys' question. But when you get a marriage license in this country, you are going from a biblical marriage into a secular marriage. It is no longer biblical anymore. So these churches that are getting people signed up into these marriage licenses are literally taking you away from the word and now into the secular world. Matter of fact, here's a definition of secular. Secular, the definition of secular is of a relating to the worldly things or the things that are not regarded as religious, spiritual, or sacred, temporal. Secular interest is an example, not pertaining or connecting to religion. It actually opposed to sacred, like secular music. So anyway, we can go on. So that is what this is. So I want to show you what this judge. So me and my ex at the time, she was my wife at the time until we were actually divorced. So anyway, we were arguing about money and children and everything. So then they went after my foundation. I have a donor advisory fund at the National Christian Foundation that I use to donate to stuff. And she was fighting for that too, even though it doesn't pertain to them. But I did make an appeal. The judge allowed me to speak, and I made an appeal and told him that I understand that he is not under the Constitution. They kind of the family court is on their own deal, and that they can. He has a lot of leverage or privilege to be able to do things that he sees fit. So I tried to appeal to the judge if he would not split the foundation money. This is how he responded to me, and I'm going to read straight from the transcript. This is the transcript that I'm going to read. This is the court. He says, well, he said he stopped me. He after he heard me make my plea and I made some assertions, which I think is true, but he said it wasn't true. This is how he responded to me, the court. Well, let me explain to you that you live in a secular republic. That's what it says. It's secular republic. I told him I understand. And then of course it says, so the reality of it is I am a Christian. So the reality of it is that in the government under which this republic was formed, there is a decision not to adopt either Jewish code as it relates to law giving, the Quran as it relates to law giving, or the Bible, and in various Christian sects. So founders did is when they created our government, they basically said, you may practice your religion in any way you choose, but you will be governed by the laws that are applied to all faiths. That's the secular republic. I repeat, I can't tell you how many times he repeated this. So, having chosen to be a citizen in this republic, what is a republic? What has a necessity happen? A necessity happen whether you intended it or not. Your religious convictions, when you come under the law of the republic, have to yield as I have to give up my convictions where I did invoke this law of the secular republic. So this is not a question of even my willingness to be, to the extent compassion or sympathy to either of the parties. I have no power to do that because when I took my oath, it was an oath that I would swear uphold the Constitution of the law, and the laws are secular. So people, so this, and I can keep on reading, but I wanted to show you how that when the judge pretty much told us that the law is secular, which we should have already known. We have scriptures that supports that. You got in 1 Corinthians 6, it says, what he says, I suffer you not, I dare you not go to the unjust law. This testify once again that the Bible is true. Let me read right here. It says right here, this is what Paul says. Dare any of you having a matter against another go before the unjust and not before the saints. Verse 5, I'm going to, he says, I speak to your shame. Is it so that there is not a wise man among you? No, not one that shall be able to judge between his brethren, but brothers going to the law with the brother, and that before unbelievers. So people, if you are in a marriage, if you have a marriage certificate in this country, you are in a secular marriage. Now, I'm going to say some stuff here that a lot of you guys are probably listening. If you don't have a marriage license, hallelujah. If you do, hey, if the shoe fits, wear it. You know your own personal situation. So, but I am going to make a broad statement, but each families and each people that's in this situation, they have to make that choice for themselves. But if you have a wife, men, if you have a wife that's not obedient to you, I highly recommend that you consider getting out of that contract with the state, because when the state comes in, you're literally, when you got that marriage license, you literally advocated your position as the head of your home to the court and really to the wife, because this system is revolved around a woman. This is a matriarchic system. The Christian church is a matriarch, and the state, the United States, the Constitution is a matriarch. So anyway, that's my spiel. I would love to, I have some other stuff here, but I just wanted to, do we have any questions here, Dave?
Yes, sir. So we have some questions about what people should do who are in the truth and who have marriage license. What is your advice for those type of people who understand the wickedness of marriage licenses, and what should their next steps be as a couple in the truth?
Well, this is my advice to you. Now, I am no lawyer. I want to make sure I am not a lawyer. This is my personal opinion, my personal advice. I've been looking into this very closely, even to the point of how can we as men get back the patriarch in our homes in this lawless country, that we're in. How can we? And there's some things that I've been doing research about, guardianship and marriage and things of that nature. But if you have a wife, now, people, we have to understand the Bible speaks very clear. Proverbs 31:3 says it clear. Let me read it here so you guys don't think, to answer your question. Here's my logic. Here's my logic here. So when you go to Proverbs 31:3, and this is true because I've gone through this stuff, so I know this is true. Not thy strength unto a woman, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. Okay, when you have a woman, they say wife, but it's really woman. But when you have a woman, we live in our women are the weaker vessel. Let me read in 1 Peter chapter 3:7. It says, likewise, ye husband, dwell with them until according to knowledge, giving honor to the wife as unto vessel. So my advice would be, because they're a weaker vessel, the devil usually attacks the woman, and she's an emotional being. If she's not strongly into this faith and truly her desires unto you, I'm just telling you, you have a weak spot in your family, and it can be torn down. A woman can rip that home apart and destroy everything. And if you want to protect her against herself, against the family getting taken out, I would highly recommend to find a way to get out of that secular contract. We should not be unequally yoked with non-believers. So that will be my advice to you. But every situation is different. You know your wife, you know your woman, and who you're with. If she's a person that is struggling, you can show her, explain to her, this is why we need to do this stuff to protect our family in case of a spiritual attack. This will protect the home, the children, the family that we get out of this contract.
We have another question pertaining tax benefits. What about tax breaks and Social Security benefits of being married?
Okay, this is a great question. Now, I am coming from my opinion. So I am a financial advisor, but I'm coming. You do get tax benefits for having a wife. You can be able to write them off. You can do it for insurance. There's a lot of benefits getting a marriage license through the state, through the government. There is benefit. Now, I'm going to tell you from my own personal experience, I literally can say that I maximize on all the benefits. I had 7 children, had a wife, maximized it, saved a lot of money, I can testify to that. But guess what? I ended up losing half. It's the most expensive the most expensive contract in the world. Just lawyer fees alone cost me $100,000. And that's not even me fighting for much, trying to make it in quick. $50,000 on I was paying for my lawyer and her lawyers. $100,000 alone went to the unjust, wicked ass lawyers. Excuse me. And then she got half of that. Millions. So just, I'm telling you, the benefits that you could get in that contract is not worth putting your family. And on top of that, that's just money. I lost 8 children in the process. 8 children. What about their lives? So whatever benefits I could have gotten, I would have better off not having a marriage license. So I will still say, even with all the benefits, and I have experienced all of it, I wouldn't even get it. Next question.
All right.
Great question, by the way.
What are your thoughts about birth certificates when it pertains to marriage licenses?
Once again, all the certificates that you're getting, you're putting yourself in contract. You don't need a birth certificate. You can have your children at home. I highly recommend home birth. Even if you have a hospital, I don't think you'll need to sign it. Say, hey, we can when we get home or something, but you don't have to get a birth certificate for your children. When you do that, they belong to the state. You are literally signing your children to the state that you're in, hands down. That's how they are able to adjudicate these matters. Marriage license, it allows them to have it's like a probate, guys. I mean, I do estate planning. It's like a probate, but you're alive. You're not dead, you're alive. And they can literally tell you where your assets are going to go. That's how the judges in the court have the authority to be able to say, okay, you get this, she gets that, you pay this, your children goes here. The only reason why they can do that is because of these certificates. You are literally giving them the authority to adjudicate and to do whatever with your assets. So it's not even yours anymore. And the only way you get from underneath that is getting away from those contracts and going back to a biblical relationship between you and the Most High, you and your wife and your children. I'm just telling you, that's what you're doing. So I know they don't show all the little letters in the fine print. You're just signing things away. And you think like, oh, I get a certificate. But behind that certificate, not behind the ones you can see, is literally you signing your whole family away.
All right. So a lot of people are asking right now, so how do you go about fulfilling a biblical marriage? How would it look like in today's society to have a biblical marriage? All
right. So, guys, this is what I would suggest to you. Now I know I don't know who I'm talking to. I know I'm talking to you guys out there. I don't know where you guys are all located. Every state is different. I know there's some few states out there that they have what they call common law. Literally, you will be considered married just by living together for a certain amount of years. Some places 7, 10 years. You will be automatically considered married. Now, just everybody need to know their situation. So if you're in a common law situation, and I have some ideas on that one, but let me talk from a statutory, okay? I live in Wisconsin. Wisconsin is a statutory law. We have a statutory meaning that you're not considered married unless you have that paper. So this is something you voluntarily signed your name into this contract. So the way you would do this is, if you are trying to get to a biblical marriage, get out of these wicked systems, these wicked contracts that we in. Get a trust, a will. Everybody should. I mean, it just makes sense to have a trust. You men, you need to get a trust. Get your house in order. That if something was to happen to you, you give instructions on how you want your stuff to go. You get into the driver's seat. Don't put the government. That's what probate is. If you don't have it, then the government will divvy out your stuff and take care of your family however you want it. But you be responsible. Get a trust. Get a will. And then you can adjudicate those matters. 2, men, there's a thing that you can do called terminate parental guardianships. Well, there's another way you can get it more biblical, because the children belongs, biblically speaking, the children belongs to the father. So you can, if you have a truly biblical woman, a wife, she should be willing to give up her parental rights so that you will be the sole guardian of that, so you can protect that child. That's another thing you can look into. It's called terminate TPG, I got termination parental guardian. So that's another way that a man can get into a point where he has more of the power, which it should be there. That's his strength. He needs to protect his strength because the devil is not going to go through the man. He's going to take the wife out and he's going to use your wife, that woman, to destroy your home. It's like Samson telling his secret to Delilah, and she ended up taking the string by cutting his hair. You need to protect your home. Now, some people will say, well, hey, how about the woman? Guys, the Bible is a patriarch, not a matriarch. It's not even a partnership. It is a patriarch. And you have to protect, just like in chess. In chess, you can kill the queen, you can kill the pawn, you can kill the bishop. But once you kill that king, it's checkmate. Done. You have to protect the man, because once you take the man out, you can devour everything in that house. So that is some of the ways, and I can maybe other shows I will get more into that, but that is some of the ways. And now if you live in a common law, you have to be crafty. I mean, I've had ideas, maybe getting a woman into having a little apartment, a cheap apartment, knowing that she's just spending the night and that we're not living together or whatever, just to continue. So I'm still looking into the common law, but there's ways that you can probably work even in the common law situation, but find out what state you are. If you're in common law or statutory, it's more statutory states than there are common law. So find out what state you are in. And maybe next time I'll come up with some of those states that are in common law.
A few people are wondering, what would be some proper steps? You mentioned the trust, but what are some other things that people can, there's a few people who say that they can see their marriage going into divorce. What should they do in a crafty way to make sure that if that ever comes about, they're prepared? Great question.
So the way you do this now, you got to be wise, but start minimizing your life. Try to get it down. If you can get money into somebody you trust, key word, trust. So you want to minimize your life, because usually when somebody is set up to do something, they're going to say, oh, we need to move because I'm not happy. If we don't get rid of your debt, try to minimize it. Start acting like you're going to live on half of that, because that's pretty much what you're in. If you're thinking about that, start getting your house in order. So if you have $100, I'm using it as an example. If you have $100, you look at 50. That 50 is what you're going to be living off on. And we don't even know if that's even an accurate number. Give some room for lawyer fees, because it's going to cost money. Now, maybe if you're in a situation, you and your spouse can work that out, but just try to really prepare yourself for prepare yourself for a crash. I mean, it's like you're going to crash. Everybody brace yourself. We are coming in. We're going to hit. And all you can do is try to prepare, but it's going to be bad. But it's not worth staying in that situation. And all I can do is prepare and try to minimize, get rid of your debt, get your house in order as if you're going to die, because it's going to be a death.
All right. This is the last question
of
the night. What would be your advice to both men and women to properly stay in their roles? That way they wouldn't have to consider divorce, whether biblical or secular divorce.
So what would be my advice?
Right.
Hey, guys, let me tell you something. The Holy Bible is instructions. Jesus says the law and the prophets. These two things, these two laws hang on the whole law and the prophets, to love God with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul, and to love your neighbor, to keep the commandments of Yah, to keep your faith in Jesus Christ. That is the key to having a peaceful lifestyle. A peace that passes all understanding is your faith in Jesus Christ and keeping his commandment. It's that simple, guys. It's not complicated. Get into straight. All I know of right now is Straightway. Straightway is one heck of a ministry. I've seen the good, the bad, and because they are commandment keepers, because Pastor Dow teaches us the word, not only teaches the word, but teaches how to go behind the word so we can hold him accountable. He doesn't just say, well, just believe what I'm saying. He teaches us so that we can do our own research, and be able to hold him accountable. Most pastors will not do that. They just want you to believe what they want you to believe. Community. I think community is also another situation. I think community actually helps you to live a more holy, righteous life. We started doing community, and it's beautiful. I mean, we talk about, literally, we meditate on the word. Do we not, Dave? Do we not talk about the word of Yah? And we hold each other accountable. I got two sisters. I'm the head of this community at Straightway Praise. I got two sisters, one that's married, but one that's not married. And if she was in Christianity, she wouldn't make it. But because she has somebody in the environment that's loving, but sometimes we have to do some rebuking, correcting, and admonishing just to help her to be all that she can be. So that's what I would say is start keeping the commandments of Yah. Start with the Sabbath. Start with keeping the Sabbath. Start listening to Pastor Dow on every Shabbat at 11 o'clock Central Time. And then start being obedient to the word, and you can be able to get yourself out of the situation, and you may need some deliverance too. And I also want to there was another thing I wanted to let you guys know too, because that was the last question, correct?
Sure, but there's
okay.
A second part of the question, because this kind of entails to this. But how big of a part do women play in the building of a home or destroying of a home?
People, Proverbs 14:1 says, a wise woman builds her house. And I'm paraphrasing, but a foolish woman plucks it down with her own hands. Guys, I am a witness. I testify that to be true. And I've seen it in positive, not with my ex-wife, but I've seen it in positive, negative. But let me tell you the positive. We just had a sister come and visit us, and she came in and says, man, the house is just so peaceful. I really believe that obviously with you have the Holy Spirit, filling this place up, but a woman can create an atmosphere that's so peaceful when she's not murmuring, complaining, if she's not always back, just her desires unto her master or to those who are in authority, when they just do what they're told to do and obey within the laws of Yah, it creates a peaceful home. This is the same home I built for my wife. This is the same home I built for my children. And I can tell you that since I've had community with the saints that are living with me, this is the most peaceful that I've ever had. And I'm coming out, but I've gone through a very gut-wrenching situation here. And man, I love my new family, love it. And so a woman really plays a part in building her house up. A wise one will build it up, but a foolish one will tear it down. But a woman plays a big part. I mean, you see what the Bible says. What does it say? It says that it's better to be on the rooftop than be with a contentious woman. So a woman plays a huge part in making that home either peaceful or just a place that you just want to avoid. You rather go to the bars and get drunk or something. So any more questions?
That's pretty much it. If you want to just remind me about
next week, so guys, next week we did a poll. I just wanted to know what will work for everybody, just to get more things. Great questions. But the KGB Live Show will be at 6 p.m. Central Time. I repeat, 6 p.m. Central Time. Guys, I appreciate this stuff. Please comment down below. Let me know if you guys like this format. I like it. It allows me to, interact with you guys. I appreciate your support. Please, thank you for your patience. We're going to get this thing down. We're trying to do 2 cameras and stuff, and maybe we overload the system, but we're going to continue getting better and better. That's how we do things here. So anyway, look forward to seeing you guys next week. Still continue to check back. The Flying Monkey is a good one. You can see how that works. And then the Berean moment with Darius Powell, brother Darius, amazing testimony. All right. Shalom, shalom.